Hi everyone, welcome and thank you very much for joining me here on IPO Market Watch. If you're new, please consider hitting the subscribe button to help me reach 70,000 subscribers. We're at 68,200 something right now. Really appreciate everyone's support. And with that being said, let's go on with what this video is about. It's about CoreWeave, in which you've probably heard about. This is the biggest IPO of 2025, everyone, the biggest. I mean, it's going public on the initial price right now is 45 to 50 bucks, in around that range. Could open much higher than that. It might open at 60, it might open at 70, right? It can happen. Now, who would profit from that if it were to open at 60 or 70? Robinhood investors, because on Robinhood right now, you can actually pre-order CoreWeave. Is that a sure thing? Is that a good thing to pre-order? Well, there's a lot of controversies around this company. So I'm going to highlight the controversies and I'm going to tell you my opinion at the end of this video. Before we get to that, guys, look at this dark pool. So we have one of the many tools, AI tools, and a bunch of tools that will help you become a better investor every single day. And you will learn to rely on those tools because they're that good. Over on the Discord, if you want to join us on Patreon/Discord, the link will be at the bottom of your screen or in the description of this video. One of the tools is Dark Pool, and in Dark Pool lately, we saw that there was a buy for ticker symbol VFC at $16.37, 14.8 million shares. That person or whoever is behind this, because in Dark Pool, we don't know, it's anonymous. It is legally anonymous, right? But it exists. It's a different exchange for huge buying and selling of big blocks of trades. But anyways, 1637, everyone. Somebody spent nearly $243 million to buy this stock, right? And they bought it on March 21st, 2025. By the way, on Dark Pool, the moment the trade is executed, buy or sell, we get it instantly. So March 21, we knew about this, 1637 VFC. Keep it in mind, keep your eyes out for VFC if you want to. This is a company, that owns the brands like North Face, Vans, right? Big clothing brands. Let's move on to the IPO, right? CoreWeave Incorporation, ticker symbol CRWV. 49 million shares is what they're going to offer. 47 to 55 bucks is the initial price range. I repeat, it might open at 60. Don't be surprised. And the market cap, I would keep this in mind also. So they're going public on around an 18, 20 billion dollar market cap, right? Is this company even worth a $20 billion market cap? Plus some controversial things that I'm going to show you. Let's look. The company is based in New Jersey. It was founded to develop infrastructure as a service computing, networking, and storage capabilities for businesses seeking AI inference and training functions, as well as data analytics and other GPU-heavy applications. Management is headed by the founder and chairman CEO, Mr. Michael Intrater, who has been with the company since 2017. The company offers artificial intelligence and machine learning, data analytics, visual effects and animation, scientific research.
NVIDIA-backed CoreWeave is seeking to raise as much as $2.7 billion in an initial public offering. That is a lower valuation than the $4 billion that Bloomberg reported last month. We just heard Gil Loria bring up the idea that maybe it won't even be $2.7 billion. Maybe when it actually comes to market, it could even be a lower valuation.
So far, they have booked $510 million in investments from the likes of Copac, the Linden Wentz Trust, NVIDIA Corporation. Now I want to point out something as far as the revenue, which is very interesting. In 2022, they had about $15.8 million in revenue. Then that jumped up to $200 some million. And then in 2024, it goes all the way up to $1.9 billion. So right off the bat, someone might look just at that and say, wow, what an incredible growth. This is definitely an IPO I want to get into. But let's check out something else. Net income. Net income is nearly $1 billion negative, right? Net income, what you're left with, basically, negative $1 billion, that's a big red flag for me. When we look at free cash flow, they're negative 5.95, nearly negative $6 billion.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
That's a huge red flag for me, okay? I would have to be very confident that you are actually, you would have to convince me that within the next 5 years at most, 3 years at most, you're going to turn things around dramatically and at least cut that negative free cash flow by at least 60%, right? And this is insane. I personally would never ever invest in a company that's negative $6 billion in a free cash flow, especially when they ask for 45 to 50 bucks per share or more if it opens up higher. Their total debt has soared to $10.6 billion, right? Everything is going out of control financially for this company. I don't even know how in the world they could possibly survive as a company within the next 5 years, unless something miraculous happens and they get this massive deals, which they have closed massive deals, backlog order. Not that hasn't been completed or anything like that, with London and Tokyo. But in order for them to do that, according to their S1 filing, they said that they need to raise a lot more money, which means that debt is going to go way past 10 billion that it currently is. I mean, it's just too much. All right, negative 6 billion free cash flow, nearly $1 billion in net income, a $10.6 billion debt. 77% of their customers come just from two companies. Just two companies make up 77% of their customers. In 2023, as of December 31, 2023, according to their S1 filing, 35% of their revenue came from Microsoft. And then as of December 31, 2024, right, basically as, at the end of 2024, their entire 62% of revenue came from Microsoft. So let's just say that they're aiming or hoping for 70 or 80% this year coming just from one customer, Microsoft. What happens if Microsoft decides that they eventually want to cut slowly their ties with CoreWeave because they don't really need them? Because Microsoft is a hyperscaler and they can just buy their own NVIDIA chips and do their own thing. They can do the same thing that CoreWeave is offering. They don't really need CoreWeave for long. And that's exactly what happens. Financial Times, Microsoft drops some CoreWeave services ahead of $35 billion IPO. So you have CoreWeave coming out and saying, I want, a $35 billion valuation on a negative $6 billion free cash flow, on a $10.6 billion debt that's going to soar way more. And Microsoft is my largest customer. I'm surviving or trying to survive off of just Microsoft. And Microsoft, before I go public, is dropping some of my services, right? That doesn't give me a lot of confidence. We also have this. We have identified material weakness in our internal control over financial reporting. They can't even have control over their internal accountants. What is going on with their financials? It says if our remediation of such material weakness is not effective, or we experience additional material weakness in the future, or otherwise fail to develop and maintain effective internal control over financial reporting, our ability to produce timely, accurate financial statements and all that stuff. Someone might say, well, that's just a plain risk. No. You can say in your S1 filing as a risk factor that maybe in the future we're not going to be able to have control over our financial reporting. But here they're saying they already have identified. They said we identified material weakness in our internal control over. You go public and you're telling me that you already identified financial issues with reporting with your internal control of financial reports. That's messed up. That's huge. And you're asking 45 to 50 bucks for that. At the same time, while they're asking for 45 to 50 bucks per share, CoreWeave founders cashed out nearly $500 million before the IPO. These founders are so confident in their company that they say, hey, let me take $500 million bucks off the table now before I go public. So the company has around $260 million in cash. They have $5.1 billion in total liabilities, and the long-term debt already at $10.6 billion. And their free cash flow, like I said, negative $6 billion. With all that being said, everyone, I am seeing a company that has had major financial institutions and financial players invested in this company before it went public. Obviously, when it was private, and obviously you could have gotten those shares at way cheaper prices. The company has been loaded with a ton of debt. They're so red it's insane, and the founders are cashing out before the IPO. They have said that we have identified weakness in controlling our internal financial accounting practices and all that stuff. So, the way I see it is, this is a company that is being brought to the market. They're going to dump it on the market at a insane price that it does not. This company does not. It shouldn't have this price. It shouldn't have this valuation. at all. It is way overvalued. Let me just say that, way overvalued. Too many financial concerns. They're going to dump this with a huge debt on people on the when it goes public. People are going to buy into it. Maybe it goes up, maybe it doesn't. But within the first year at most, within the first year or the first 6 months of it going public, I think it's going to tank, right? That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's just too many red flags for me to invest in this. So I will stay out of it. And anyone who gets in, I wish you the best. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about CoreWeave. And if you want to join our Discord/Patreon for tools such as Darkpool and a lot more, the link will be at the top of the description video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And I wish you all the best. Take care.